GMVM. Good morning to everybody. This is Vagobond Magazine's weekly Space VM GM, and we're here to talk about Web3 and the Web3 lifestyle. I'm CD Demiscio, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Rihanna Morgan and Quantania. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm happy to be here with you. This is Rihanna Morgan. I am the editor-in-chief of Vagobond Magazine, and I can't wait to get started today.
Good morning. Happy New Week to everybody. This is Quanta. I'm the fashion editor of Vagobond Magazine, and I'm happy to be here. Let's have a great session today.
I am so happy that you guys are here today. And let's have a great week. I mean, I know today is a little bit of it's a downer of a day. And we don't have to go into all that. We'll just say that our hearts and our thoughts are with the people who have suffered tragedies in the past and the people who are currently suffering tragedies. And yeah, I wish the world was a different place and that it worked a little bit differently. But unfortunately, this is the world we live in. So those of you suffering, our hearts are with you. For those of you in Web3, we know you're suffering and our hearts are with you too. But actually, maybe you're not suffering. We're also joined today by our friends on Writings, T. Dylan Daniel, Indefatigable. We got all kinds of friends in the world and so many blessings, and here we are. So let's just jump right into something pretty exciting. We've been looking for a tech editor for a long time. We're using Olivia Rodriguez as our tech editor. She has a ChatGPT tech editor, but we really wanted the human touch and something a little bit more realistic. And we put out the call, and much to our delight, our friend Indefatigable stepped up and said he would like to become the tech editor for Vagobond Magazine. Indy, are you here? Good morning.
I'm here and I'm so excited to be here. Yay!
We are so excited to have you on board. You've already thrown some ideas towards what's going to be happening that is just so exciting, dude. It's really exciting to be talking with you as the tech editor of Vagabond Magazine. So can I ask you, what do you see this role as for yourself? Do you have some vision of, I know you do, but what do you see being the tech editor of a Web3 Lifestyle magazine entailing?
I mean, so I was able to have a chat with the head editor of Wired magazine a couple of years ago, and I was like, dude, Web3 is real. It's sticking around. It's not a fad. It's not a gimmick. And he was like, yeah. We're not including it in Wired. And I was like, bro, that's short-sighted, and it's the future. So anyway, what the reason I bring up Wired is because, like, when I was a kid, I would go to the library and I would pick up a copy of Wired, and what I liked about it is that it made very difficult tech concepts easy to understand, even if you didn't have all the prerequisites. And so it was kind of like a magazine for thinkers and people, normal people who wanted to have intelligent conversations about interesting things. And so that's what I see as the goal. The goal is not to sound smart or sassy or like, only an erudite, comp sci major can utilize it. My goal is to demystify, elucidate, give us common language, down to earth metaphors to understand the cutting edge of what's coming out and make distinctions between things that we often confuse for each other. It happens all the time in Web3. We have two solutions that are fundamentally look like they share the same space, but they're underneath the hood. The mechanisms are remarkably different. So I think I want to like really just clarify a lot of things with the simplest possible language and make that available for all of Vagabond magazine's readers.
Man, and it's not just for Vagabond magazine's readers, it's for the world. By the way, because Web3 is that thing that people are going to be like, it's been there for that long and it's had this profound an effect. But I got to say, man, one of the reasons why I'm so excited about you being the tech editor for Vagabond magazine is that you're not some computer sci major. You're a creative, you're a poet, you're a musician, and you happen to also be a tech and a dev. And to be able, like, you are like the true Renaissance man that this is like the perfect position for. And I'm so, so excited about um, having your voice be a part of the collective voice that we're putting out there. It's really exciting. So, with that being said, before we jump into anything else, what have you seen this week in Web3 that caught your attention?
Woo! Dylan and I early this morning were engaged in a conversation about on-chain privacy or privacy first technologies and just the Pandora's box that it represents. We were looking at the well-funded launch of a new or funding of a new platform for IP rights, which on a new protocol, story protocol, and we were like, "Ooh, that's interesting. How does it overlap with our areas of interest?" And fundamental shifts in that area. I think that's really the thing that we're looking at now is the essential question of will this hit mass adoption and what will make it hit mass adoption.
That is the question, my friend. And I just want to point out you and Dylan working on something is no surprise because you are a founding, uh, a founder of PageDAO, as is Dylan. And I feel like if you don't know this, Vagabond magazine was born of PageDAO, and PageDAO has created all or been instrumental in creating all these relationships. And if there's one organization as a literary creator, as a writer, as a Web3 writer that you need to be a part of, it is PageDAO because this is where these kind of things happen. So, love PageDAO. If you don't know PageDAO, well, what are you doing? Get with it. All right. Now, Rihanna Morgan, I know that you have your pulse. I'm waking up here. You have your pulse. I know you have that. But I know you have your finger on the pulse of Web3. So, what are you looking at this week in terms of Web3 lifestyle, in terms of Web3 tech? What have you seen, my friend?
Well, hello, good morning. And I want to definitely echo what you were saying about Paige Dow and Indy and Dylan and everybody working together. It's amazing over there. And I can't wait for the influx of people and everybody to just come join and be part of that conversation there. So, and I have to apologize. I have um, fall allergies, and so I sound a little like Kathleen Turner, I think. So I apologize for that. But I feel great and just working along here. And so, what I've seen in Web3, I talked about it a little bit last week, but this week, still, even there is. Um, seems to be a rising tide of artists and a rising tide of people who are um, maybe not necessarily the traditional artist that we all think of with the paintbrush and their palette, but more all of the different ways that Web3 is seeing art. And in fact, I was reached out to by Hug. They're called the Hug XYZ, and they asked me to submit an artist profile for the Seven Love Stories. And I was like, I'm a writer. are you sure that that's what you want? And they were like, yes, definitely, because you have the 7 love stories are NFTs. We definitely want that as part of our group. And so I was like, okay. And so I filled out their information, and they just announced that I've been welcomed to their group. And so I was like, wow, I need to tell this to everybody, because if you're interested in putting forth an artist profile with Hug, please do that. I will go ahead and share their announcement up in the nest here. So if you're interested in doing so, please feel free, jump in and do something like that, because Quanta, please, you should do that. Everybody should do that if you've got a little bit of artistic tint, um, and your words are NFTs, or if you've created digital collectibles, please jump in and join that, because I really feel like that the more we can show where writers have a voice as well, the better it will become, and the more we'll be together like this team of people, of creators, and it'll just be beautiful. And so I'm so excited about that. So that's the big deal that I was part of last week.
That's amazing. I'm so happy to always be a part of these conversations, to get access to these new organizations, new groups, new bunches of friends. And by the way, shout out to T2 for now. This has been something that's been going on for a while. I've wanted a lens profile for a long time, and I've been trying to get one. And lots of people have tried to use their invites to get me on lens, and it just didn't work. I had so many people that were like, "Hey, I'm going to get you an invite," and then the invite wouldn't work. I even contacted the founders, and they were like, "Yeah," and then I didn't get one. Well, T2 said, "We'd like you to be part of our lens experiment, so we're going to get you one." So they actually did get me one. So T2, thank you so much for getting me that lens profile. And I can't wait to start experimenting more with T2 and seeing what's going on there. If you guys haven't used T2 yet, you should give it a try. It's basically like a sort of a paragraph blogging platform on Web3. But Riona Morgan, you you mentioned our one of our artists in residence, who is Quanta. And Quanta, we didn't have you on last week to talk about your section in Vagobond magazine, uh, which this month is so on fire. There's a couple of things that we wanted to talk with you about, but artists in residence made me immediately think of Squad and some of the amazing things that you and I have been talking about that you want to do with Squad. Quanta, can you tell us about Squad, what it is, maybe tease a little bit what you'd like to do with it or what you're going to do with it, and dive into that. And if you haven't seen Squad yet, you guys grab Vagabond magazine, open up, and flip the pages until you find it, and you'll see. So, Quanta, with that being said, please take the mic.
Thank you, CD. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I've never been vocal about what what that project is. And when CD said, you should put it up on Vagabond magazine, I was like, really? So Squad it's my first fashion NFT collection, and it is totally about me. It's a lot to do with what I intend to do in Web3, which is, and it's also why I've got into Web3, why I am advocating Web3 fashion. So, Squad is a fashion story. It's about 20 high schoolers. They are fashion vigilantes, and they want to upright the wrongs or the shortcomings of the fashion industry. So every squad member has a backstory. It's a very short backstory, and the backstories end at a cliffhanger. And one of their stories completes the entire it completes the entire story. So even if you don't want to pick that up, though I'd love you to pick up a Squad, but read the stories, and it's super fun. So the reason why this is this is so important for me is I want to use Squad as a platform to bridge the physical art and with Web3 with the Web3 audience. There is before I got into Web3 fashion, I was researching a lot of arts and crafts all over the world. I have talked to a lot of these artisans. I have interviewed them. I've studied what they do. I have shared their work on Instagram, but it wasn't getting anywhere. It wasn't getting them anywhere. It wasn't getting me anywhere. And what I would like to do with Squad is to bridge to be a bridge to introduce them to the Web3 audience. So that is why, I mean, it's a very small collection and it's very special to me. And I didn't release this with a point to make money. It's only for 5 tests. Each squad is only for 5 tests, but it is for it. The underlying reason is because I want to introduce one world to the other.
I absolutely love that. It's so amazing. Now, for those who don't know, and if
Thank you.
it is on the Tezos collection, so you're going to need to go to Object OBJKT in order to buy a squad member. Now, I want to say that Quanta, I bought one, and then I bought one for my daughter, and then she made a specific one. This was so sweet. You made a junior squad member for my daughter, which was so cool. And thank you so much. She loves it, and I love mine. But what I really love here is that you're bridging the traditional artisan culture in different countries around the world. And if you want to share your Instagram, if you do want to share that up in the nest, Quanta, please go ahead because your Instagram is so cool. So different artisans around the world and connecting them with the Web3, this digital world, which is so important.
Sure, I'll do that. I'll do that. Thank you.
So I lived in Morocco for 5 years, and while I was there, maybe my best friend in the country was a woman named Jess Stevens who runs something called Culture Vultures Fez, and Culture Vultures basically has this the same sort of mission that Quanta has taken on for herself too. So Quanta and Jess have been like parallel side by side doing this amazing thing of bringing artisans like techniques and processes and beauty and like skills and dying arts in some cases to the world through digital format. So this really touches my heart. I actually ran a couple of artisanal tours through Fez, through the ancient Medina there. So I would take people around and introduce them to like the cloth dyers and the leather makers and you know Zellage, and so I know a lot of these artisans. I know how hard it is in some cases for them to get apprentices and to pass on their arts and skills. So it's so cool to see this. I really, I can't express enough how much I love what you're doing. Um, yeah. All right. With that being said, the tragedy in Morocco, this earthquake, it didn't strike the regions where I lived or where most of my friends are. I do have friends that were affected by it over in the Marrakesh areas, but it's really my heart and my soul, my prayers. All of this goes out to the Moroccan people. If you haven't been to Morocco, haven't seen Morocco, aren't aware of Morocco, put it on your radar because the Moroccan people are the biggest treasure in Morocco, and really just like I hope that something I don't know. It's a tragedy, and what can I say beyond that? Um, Quanta, we are going to come back, and we're going to talk about your section. I want to talk to you about T-shirts, and I want to talk to you about more of your section. But just to break things up a little bit here and do a quick pivot, we also have Odd Writings in the house this morning, and Odd Writings also contributed something to this month's Vagobond magazine. He was the curator for the Verse, a collection of odd writings, instead of me saying it, why don't you hop up here and tell us about what you put in Vagabond magazine this month and tell us about that process?
Hey, well, I'm glad to have made this meeting. I know I missed the last one, but I did listen to the last one over, on the replay. Yeah, so I know a lot of the Verse people, and they had invited me to curate their first community anthology, which would be poems written by just the general public, not necessarily members of the Verse. And so I was very, proud and delighted to have this invitation. So of course I said yes, and so I did the thing. I curated it, and we went through the whole process. And then I thought it would be a good idea to write an article about how I went about doing it, and that would also help to spread the word about the anthology itself. And so I did that. And of course, the place I wanted it to appear first was Vagobond magazine. And so I sent it in, and it was accepted, and so it came out there. And this actually ties in a little bit, well, actually quite a bit, with what CD you said earlier about you getting a Lenster or a lens connection there through T2, because they did exactly the same for me. And just yesterday, I copied I posted something on T2, which in fact was a copy of the article for Vagabond magazine. And at the bottom it says, "This article first appears in Vagabond magazine," and there it is now on my Lens account, according to their experiment. So there's a connection here between what we talked about before. But in any case, so the article I wrote, it's quite a bit of a long read, I think, but hopefully I made it somewhat interesting to read. But I'm very glad you guys printed it. It's an honor to be printed in that magazine.
George, it's an honor to have you in there, and I need to spend some time on Lens and figure that out. And the same thing with T2. I published one article there, but I need to spend more time on it. But can you talk a little bit about maybe for those who don't know, introduce what the Verse is, and sort of tell us why this is a big deal, because it is a big deal, and you're pretty humble about this. But being the curator for a Verse is a big deal. Can you go into that, please?
Yeah. So the Verse, if you do a Google search on the Verse, that would be THE, then VERSE. You'll find that they're all over the place. They've gotten press just everywhere. And basically what they are pushing is they want poems to be considered and to be considered more as works of art. In other words, to be when a work of art is put on auction, people will actually go and they'll see it within galleries and so on. And so they want to see more of that happening with poetry. It does already happen some with poetry, but it's not as common as you may think. And so they, just out of their pure effort of trying to get the word out, they have basically become the premier organization that's doing this. Sasha Stiles, who's one of the big stars, quote unquote, of NFT poetry, as well as a lot of the AI stuff. She was one of the three founders of the Verse, and so basically they have a big reach, and they've had exhibitions all over the world and in various museums all over the world, spreading poetry, NFT poetry in particular, and displaying it as works of art. And so that's why to me that's why they're a big deal. They've basically established themselves as the first among many other organizations trying to spread this, but they've done such a good job of it that I think they deserve to be in kind of to be considered the leaders, which I think a lot of people do at this point.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and I think there's a couple of key points to bring up there. The first is that putting poetry in a Web3 format sort of bridges, it does this Web3 thing where it bridges something from word and voice to actual visual and also video. It it bridges a lot of different art forms and puts them together. So I feel like what the verse is doing is, while they're taking an art form that exists and glorifying it and giving it value, they're also creating a new form of art, a new way of doing things, which is really what Web3 is all about. We're about exploring the boundaries and taking established ways of doing things and tweaking them. I want to know. Let's just open it up. What do you guys think about this? The verse. Any thoughts? Any experiences with it? Riona, what about you?
Oh gosh. So the verse is amazing, and I follow them on Instagram as well. They're very active on Instagram, and I'm not very active on Instagram, and so they're one of the people that fills my feed all the time. They've always got things going, and I'm always just so excited and amazed for everything that they are doing. And they literally are worldwide. They are just everywhere, and it is something that is really really amazing. And I think we might see if Odd Writings would jump back in and talk with them a little bit more and see if he would like to do a feature. I am doing a Meet the Publisher series as the editor in chief, but since Odd Writings has a nice connection with them, I would like to extend an offer to him here on the show and ask him if he would reach out to them and put together something that talks about their vision and their beginnings, their origin story, what they're hoping will become, and just kind of give us a meet the publisher. Let's meet them, and how can people be involved and how can people get involved. And so I think that that would be lovely. And so please, Odd Writings, if you're interested, let's connect on that. And I just think that their approach to amplifying the idea that poetry is art is beautiful. And it so is. And it's, I really feel like that artists, you know, sort of peel their soul out of their bodies and put it out for us to see. And I think anytime as a poet, when we write poetry, that's a similar action. And so it's just so beautiful, and I'm just so happy about it. So thank you so much for letting me add my 2 cents.
Well, I think this is a great idea. It's a wonderful idea. Um, uh, I'm not sure that I can speak for them, however. Uh, so there is a question as to whether they would have me involved, but I'm definitely going tell them about the idea. Uh, I haven't discussed it. Right now, they're somewhat submerged in their current project, which is they've made a deal with the estate of Allen Ginsberg, and they've mixed together an artificial intelligence, an AI thing to sort of resurrect Ginsberg and create poems in his style, but it's not him, right? It's something like him. But that's what they're currently doing, and so I've talked with them before, and it is actually quite difficult to get back for them to get back with you because they're so busy. But I'll do what I can.
That's amazing. And the Ginsburg project is one of those things that just like it blows my mind. You know, bringing Ginsburg back, essentially an AI version of the poet, sanctioned by his estate. Pretty cool. George, I also want to say that if you do talk with them and you want to invite them onto the Web3 or onto VMGM or the Web3 Writers Hour, which is the space that we do on Tuesdays, we would love to have more poets. Maybe we could do a poetry centric version of this or of the Web3 Writers Hour. Now, I want to move on a little bit. Any other thoughts about the verse? If anybody has anything, just go ahead and throw your hand up or open your mic. Okay, we have a guest with us today. Also wrote a piece for the latest issue of Vagobond magazine, Edward, and I hope I'm saying it right. Edward, you wrote a piece called Web 3.0, Awakening Fashion's Dormant Essence. Thank you so much for writing it, and thanks for joining us on VMGM this morning.
Hi, GM. Thanks for having me, and thank you so much for the opportunity to write an article for your magazine. I mean, I'm really grateful for this opportunity. I'm so grateful to Q. I mean, she's one of my best friends from Twitter, and I mean, among the things she has done for me, I mean, the, as I keep saying, and as I already said in a few posts that I made related to the post, this will always be a cherished moment in my journey. I mean, yeah, I mean, just having this opportunity to paint my thoughts on your magazine was an amazing experience from the moment I started writing the article up to the point when the magazine was released and so on. So thank you so much. I'm really grateful for everything.
We're super excited to have you here, and we're super excited to have your voice in the piece. What I really want to hear is a conversation between you and Quanta. But I did want to say there was one sentence that just like jumped out at me from your article, and it's where you say, "If," and I'm going to abbreviate it a little bit, but you say, "If technology gave birth to the fashion we know today, it distanced us from its core." I love that thought, and then you take it to the next level and you say, will technology again reawaken this essence and make us perceive and appreciate fashion through a fresh frame of mind? Such an amazing idea, put so succinctly. But really, Quanta, I would love for you and Edward to talk fashion and Web3 fashion in particular for a little while if you want. I'm just going to shut up.
Thanks, CD. But yes, that statement was so electrifying, and I'd love for Edward to expand on it, to explain where he comes from when he shares that.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, when I said that statement, I mean, in my opinion, the fashion we know today started when tailoring actually came to life. Because when tailoring came to life, we started to create garments, more customized garments to each style, to each person preference, and so on and so forth. And yet, regardless of this change that tailoring brought to the fashion world, it was also technology that distanced us from the actual essence of fashion. It distanced us. Why? Because when social media started to gain traction, everyone started to I mean, they started to desire to stand out more and so on, and they used fashion as a medium to stand out. They, instead of focusing on just the idea of what is actually fashion, what does this garment represent to me, they started to buy garments just for the sake of buying them, just for the sake of standing out. I mean, instead of buying a jacket, for example, or a T-shirt in which they found themselves, I mean, they truly with the piece, they prefer to buy a garment from a luxury brand, for example, just because they wanted to stand out. And this is why I believe that it was technology that distanced us from fashion essence, and why I believe that technology is the thing that is going to reawaken this essence. I mean, in my opinion, the entire article talks about this idea related to technology. In my opinion, a simple NFC chip, digital fashion, AR, augmented reality. All of these technologies are going to bring back fashion essence to life. I mean, let me give you an example, and it is the example that I've also give in my article. I mean, let's just think about the 9DCC activation. They allow people to create connections, to form their own communities through their garment. I mean, people are no longer going to talk about the garment itself. When you think about, I mean, when most people think about 9DCC, they will always think about the connection. They will no longer think about the garment, the cap, or the t-shirt, the cap, or whatever 9DCC is going to release. And this is going, for some people, this is going to help them realize that fashion is actually much more than just a garment. It is going to make something click in their minds and realize that fashion is not about the garments. It has never been about garments.
Absolutely. I think that was fantastic. And I think that your perspective of technology, because of social media, literally destroying the essence of fashion, as you call it. I didn't perceive of it that way, but it is so correct. It is so correct that we to project ourselves as something as something that's influential rather than something that will project us. That took over with social media, and right now, what you mentioned about 90cc, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. I would not think of that black T-shirt, but I would only, when you say 90cc, I would think of the POAPs. I would think of what that chip does to build a community. I would think of that treasure hunt they had at NFT NYC and where they distributed the caps. That is what fashion is. It is way, way beyond a wearable. It was a brilliant article, and you explained it. It was easy, very easy for some
I can't
I
hear you.
would say.
I can't hear you. I mean, it's my problem or
Oh, can
Nope,
you hear me
we lost
now?
we lost we
Did you
lost you
miss?
for just a second, Quanta, but now you're good.
Okay, so I don't know where you lost me, but
The
what I
treasure
was
hunt for
saying is that
90cc.
oh yeah, so I mean they had the treasure hunt at NYC there, and everywhere they were doing the cat, but it was
It's
not
happening
about.
again.
Oh, really? I missed, I missed news. Oh, amazing. So I think about
Quanta, I think
doing.
for some reason X doesn't want to
Um,
hear about 90cc. What the heck?
okay, let's do that.
Okay. You know what?
But yeah,
I'm gonna interrupt you for just a second because it feels like that isn't getting
sure.
fixed. Okay, wait, but then you sound really good. Okay, so try one more time.
Okay, I'm gonna skip the 90cc.
Nope, and now you're completely gone. Ah, okay, well, we will come back to this. Edward, and by the way, 90cc, I'm so bummed that I didn't get one of those caps while I was at MTNYC. I don't know. I was so overwhelmed with stuff that I saw them. I got a couple of POAPs, but somehow I missed the entire 90cc boat. But I want to be on it. Edward, I wonder if you can also talk about your streetwear brand, because that's something that is like you mentioned in your article, like the kids waiting for hours to get t-shirts and waiting in line, and streetwear is such an important part of our culture and it's such an important part of the Web3 culture, I feel like. Could you talk about your brand and how you came into creating it and maybe what you want to do in the future with it?
Yes, of course. Thanks for asking. I mean, I strongly believe that streetwear is is an essential part of our culture, of our society, actually, because I mean, if we look at the surface, we will just see brands, garments, and so on and so forth. But in my opinion, streetwear is and has always been about community, about expressing ourselves. I mean, since the early days of streetwear, people were using t-shirts to express themselves, to be part of tribes, to form those communities, and so on. And in my opinion, a successful streetwear brand is not based on how many t-shirts it sells. It What defines a successful streetwear brand is the community that he manages to build around it. Because after all, streetwear is about people, is about human connection, and this is why I believe that streetwear is such an important part of our society. Related to Mizmir, I had this idea with creating my own streetwear brand since I was in high school, but I didn't feel prepared at that time to jump in. And in 2021, I started Mizmir, but it was also in 2021 when I discovered NFTs, and I said that I want to leverage the power of NFTs in my streetwear brand. And just to give you a backstory related to this, the idea behind Mizmir has always been about empowering people. I've always desired to empower people to express myself and to express to allow others to allow other people to express themselves as well. And when I first started Mizmir, I created this Mizmir society in which I try to find a way in which to work with people to reward them for being part of the community, to take their stories, put their stories on garments, then sell the garments, give them the opportunity to earn some money after selling the garments. The idea was just to help them see and understand that they can make a living doing what they love the most, and to help them become happier, to become more willing to spread love, kindness, and empathy, and hence to make the world a better place. But my issue was that I didn't had that thing to help me keep track of the people who are actually part of my community, to help me actually automatically reward people for sharing their stories, for expressing themselves, for involving in the brand, and so on. And when I discovered NFTs, and when I understood what they actually are, even today, I don't feel like any of us can say that NFTs are this, because NFTs are keep changing. We will never know what NFTs are or what NFTs will be. But from my understanding of NFT, something clicked in my mind, and I said, okay, this is the missing piece of my puzzle. I decided to stop everything, and for the past 1.5 years, I've been working on this new concept. The concept is the same, the message and the desire is the same. I just want to leverage the power of fashion to form communities, to form a community based on love, kindness, and empathy. I want to bring people together. I want to allow them to express themselves. I want to allow them to share their stories. I want to help them follow their passion. I want to make them happier, and so on. This is basically my idea. And today it is regarded as a streetwear brand, but in the future I don't know how it is going to be regarded. But I chose to focus on streetwear because I strongly believe in streetwear's foundation, which is community, expression, and of course connection. So this is basically what Mizmir is about. And for the future, you're definitely going to see, Mizmir, I'm definitely going to work with a lot with technology, mostly because technology is going to allow me to achieve the purpose and my dream, let's say my dream with Izmir, to build that community, to allow other people to build their communities as well, based on those three virtues that I strongly believe that represent the thing that can make our world better, or at least our society. Because in my opinion, I believe that people are so mean today, and they just uh, act in their own interest, because they are not happy with what they do. And helping them to be involved in a brand, helping them to co-create with me, rewarding them with some things, and hopefully helping them to express themselves first through the brand, in order to allow them to understand that they can actually make a living by doing what they love the most. is going to make them happier, is going to give them a new path in life, probably the path that they were looking for but didn't know where to find it. And ultimately, in the end, to make them more willing to spread these three virtues and to make the society better. And I don't want necessarily these things to achieve for myself or for those of us who are here today. I'm just thinking about the future generations. I'm thinking about my sister who has 10 years old, and she is going to live in a, I mean, the society today is, I mean, disastrous. I wouldn't want to live in this society. If someone would give me the choice and it would tell me that, do you want to live here or not, I would definitely say no. And I'm just doing these things for, or I'm trying to build and do these things for especially for the future generations, for our little sisters, brothers, kids, and so on and so forth. So this is what I want to achieve with Mizmir. This is what Mizmir is all about. I mean, it isn't about clothing. I'm just using streetwear. I'm just using fashion to get my message out there, because in my opinion, fashion and lately streetwear has been, I mean, is the thing that almost all people love. I mean, regardless of what we are saying, we all wear fashion, we all love fashion, and so on. And I just wanted to find a medium through which I can bring my message to as many people as possible. But as I said, I'm just taking everything one step at a time, because I don't want to rush anything, and I want to stay true to my vision, to find those people who believe in it, who want to be part of the community, and together with them we are going to spread this message. And in the end, we will show the world that a brand is not about the brand itself or about the owner, it's about everyone. Because I like to say that Mizmir is not about me, it's not about the brand, it's about us. It's not my story, it's not your story, it's our story that we are going to write, we are going to create. So yeah, this is Mizmir.
And you bring it right back to Marshall McLuhan's "The medium is the message." In this case, the medium is the T-shirt. And by the way, I don't. I'm pretty sure that you know this, but the red rose is the symbol of libertarian socialism, which some people call anarchism, which is the brand that I frequently wore in my life. And so I love seeing that red rose um, as a piece of everything that you're putting out there. And I understand that maybe that's not the reason why you're putting it out there, but still it feels good to me. But the medium is the message. In this case, it's t-shirts. And Quanta, you wrote an amazing piece this time about t-shirts, and I learned so much from that. Can you speak now? Yes, you no longer sound like a robot.
I think we just lost her.
We did. I'm so sad. I so want to hear what she's saying about the t-shirts. Um, All right. Well, we've just got about 10 minutes left, and Quanta, we cannot hear you at all. I think we've lost you completely. So I'm just going to talk about this amazing article that you put in this issue. First of all, I didn't realize that it was F. Scott Fitzgerald that actually sort of named the T-shirt. That's, to me, that's just so amazing. Like, who knew that T-shirts started out in a literary vein? That's so amazing. So is this side of paradise that F. Scott Fitzgerald actually called it a T-shirt for the first time. Before that, I think it was called an undershirt or something else. But then Quanta goes on to talk about the political aspects of the T-shirt and the movement aspects, and a lot of what Edward was talking about in terms of ways for people to actually like express themselves, to which when it comes down to it, what fashion is all about and what Web3 is all about is expressing yourself, whether it's through a PFP, whether it's through a fancy dress that you're wearing to a gala event, or whether it's the black tuxedo you're wearing to James Bond's casino, or a t-shirt. All of those wait, we've got a request. Oh, okay. So, I don't know. All of those make a difference. Riona, are you here?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yes, I am.
For some reason, I thought I'd lost you. Okay. Let me shut up for a minute. I'm gonna hand it to you. Did you have your hand up?
I didn't mean to have my hand up. I think I sent Quanta a message saying that she could be a speaker again.
Ah, okay. Well, pardon our technical difficulties. And I will say that one of the reasons why our friend Cryptoversal Books is not with us this week is because he hates X, and we're all starting to see a little bit of the technical difficulties that happen here. We're hoping we can figure out a different solution at some point, but really, this is for spaces and for the inclusiveness. There's nothing else that compares, but maybe someday we'll figure out a better way to do this. Anyway, Quanta, I was talking about your T-shirt article, and I would much rather hear you than me.
She's gone again.
I know. All right, maybe next week we can have Quanta talk about T-shirts, because I would much rather hear all of the things that she has to say about T-shirts. But if you can't wait, you can go grab a copy of Vagobond magazine. You can read it for free on all the platforms that we publish, and you can check out this amazing, amazing article. But let's go around with, what is your favorite T-shirt? I have one in mind, but I want to ask you guys on the spot. What is the favorite T-shirt that you have? Your go-to T-shirt. Edward, do you mind starting?
Yeah, I'm just thinking about it. I mean, I don't have that many T-shirts to be honest. Probably I mean, most of the T-shirts are branded. I mean, they're T-shirts from Izmir. But one of the T-shirts that I actually love the most is, I have a T-shirt. It was released by Swedish House Mafia. I mean, I it is a house band. There are three DJs, and I mean, I believe that you are aware of Swedish House Mafia if you are in love with house music and so on. And in 2019, they reunited and released a special edition garment. It basically is, I mean, it is a simple garment with just their name on the front side and their tour dates on the back. But it is my favorite T-shirt, probably. I mean, aside from the ones that I've created myself for the brand, mostly because it is about this connection that I have with Swedish House Mafia. I mean, their music has been an essential part of my life. I mean, I resonate with it a lot, even though most of their songs uh, don't have lyrics or something like this. But as it is with fashion, in order to, in my opinion, to understand the true essence of music and fashion and so on, we always have to look beyond the obvious, beyond the things that we can see or hear. So this is basically my favorite T-shirt that I actually own at the moment. But in the future, I mean, there are going to be others. But as I said, I'm not actually buying that much garments. I'm just focusing on wearing those that I'm creating for the brand, for myself.
Well, I think that's a valid point. I mean, when you create T-shirts, that's part of what Quanta talks about, is the accessibility, the ability to like create your own T-shirts and express them. You're on a different level. But Odd Writings, I see your hand up. Odd Writings, your hand is up. Oh no. Hopefully I didn't rug. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, Odd Writings, we saw your hand up, but you've just dropped down to listener. I'm going to invite you to speak again. But Riona Morgan, do you have a favorite T-shirt?
I do. I do. So I'm a big fan of Shakespeare in the Parks. And years ago, I attended a performance of Romeo and Juliet, and the front of the T-shirt is just like a normal Shakespeare in the Park kind of clever. It has like a globe, like the Globe Theater, sort of in a park setting. But then on the back, it says, "Parting is such sweet sorrow." And so I was just like, that's so clever. And I just really like that. And so, yeah, I love t-shirts. I have like a Die Hard t-shirt and I have, all of these different things. And then I like to, when I travel to different places, get the t-shirt because I, like to collect things like that. And this summer I was thinking, gosh, what if we could have an NFT that goes along with the t-shirt that we collect or whatever. And so I'm always Web3 minded, NFT minded. And so yeah, thank you. That was fun.
No problem. We've got Odd Writings back. Maybe you can speak now. Got a favorite T-shirt, Odd Writings? Oh my God, that's amazing, dude. I love it. I love that you're like the Flipnotics guy, but it wasn't your coffee shop. I bet people think that it was your shop. Um, okay, real quick, I'll tell you, I've got two favorite shirts. One of them has an Austin connection, and that is just because I made a Bald Jesus shirt, and I wore it at NFT NYC. I wore it in Austin. Bald Jesus. We won't go into all that, but in Austin, people's reactions to that shirt were amazing. And at NFT NYC, nobody even said a word, but in Austin, people like it inspired conversations. It was really fun. And my other favorite shirt is I love wearing NaNoWriMo winter shirts. Like NaNoWriMo National Novel Writing Month in November. If you write a novel in November, you're a winner. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad. And so I've got a bunch of those shirts. I love wearing them because they always connect me with other writers, other NaNoWriMo people. So those are a couple of identity things, but yeah, it's a way for me to connect with people. That's one of the things I love about t-shirts. Okay, well, we had a lot this week. We did not get through it all, but hopefully you guys will tune in next week. If you didn't catch the whole episode, we are going to be putting it out through our Substack. So subscribe to vagobond.substack.com, and you'll get not only the audio version of this, but you'll also get a transcript where you can actually click on the parts of it that you want to listen to, and it'll take you to it. It's really cool the way that Substack does it. I'm really happy that we're able to do it. Big shout out to Quanta for helping me to get the right software that we needed so that we could record this better. Hopefully, it worked well. And that's all I have. Any parting words from you guys before we head off and enjoy our days?
I just wanted to jump in and say, give a shout out for our next issue. Is our next issue is our music issue. And so, if you are a musician or if you know a musician and you would like to submit an article to Vagabond Magazine, you can go right ahead and just jump on over and visit vagabondmagazine.com. And there's a place to submit your article for review. And I'm the editor in chief. You can also send me a direct DM on Twitter. I'm more than willing to have a conversation about it and help you with the process. So thank you so much.
Yeah, I just want to add a few things to what Riona just said. I mean, here in this space with us is Nick. Nick is a good friend of mine. I mean, he's one of, again, I ask you, one of my best friends from this whole space, and he's actually a musician. He has a lot of knowledge on music NFTs. He has an experience in the space. He hosts 5 days per week Twitter Spaces dedicated to music NFTs, and in my opinion, he would be a great fit to write an article for your magazine. I mean, because he's here today. I mean, you can just follow each other and just get in touch and get things done. Because in my opinion, you will find a lot of value from Nick. Thank you so much.
Edward, thank you for that introduction. Nick, we're so happy to meet you. And yeah, next issue is all about music. So we're super stoked to have you here. Maybe you'll want to write something for us. Well, we're actually just about to close it out, but you'll be able to go back and you'll be able to go back and listen to it if you want to. We do put the recordings out, and and yeah, reach out to myself or Rihanna Morgan. She's our editor-in-chief. We'd love to have you in our next issue in October, a music issue of Vagobond magazine. We'd love to have, um, you know, it sounds like Web3 music is where you're at. So your voice,
Let's do it.
absolutely. Let's do it. All right. So I want to shout out to Quanta. Thank you so much for being here, for everything that you do, for being the amazing human being that you are. Edward, thank you so much for coming on and joining us today. You are welcome always in the magazine, on the spaces. Love your voice, and I love what you're doing. Odd Writings, dude, you are my favorite odd person out there. You described that cafe as like catering to odd people. You're definitely my favorite oddity. And Rowan Morgan, what would we be without you? Absolute love for you. That's all I have for today. If you guys want to open your mic, say any last words, we're going to close it down in about 10 seconds. But I love you all. I hope you have a great day, and the mics are yours.
Thank you so much for the kind words. I'm really grateful for them. Thank you so much. I appreciate you a lot. You, all your team. I appreciate them a lot. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for everything. Have a great day.
Yes, yes. Much love to everyone. Have a beautiful week.